Older homes in Western New York can hide some pretty expensive surprises. So what should you actually be pushing for at your home inspection?
Ask Michelle, she's got the know-how, turning your someday into right now. Buying or selling, she's here to help to find your dream home. Ask Michelle.
Welcome back to Ask Michelle, and today we are going to hear from Marcus.
Hi Michelle, Marcus calling from Amherst. We put an offer in on a cute older house in East Aurora, and now the inspection is coming up. I keep hearing radon is a big deal around here, and a lot of these places are from the 60s and 70s. Be honest, how important is it to get a radon test? And what other inspections should we really push for so we don't get hit with a huge roof or basement surprise down the road?
So Marcus, I'm highly going to recommend, sounds like you're under contract, you have an agent, you need to talk to your agent about these specific questions and let them guide you appropriately, as I can't advise you as another agent legally. So I do want to advise you to go and speak to your agent about these questions. For those that are looking in general about homes, inspections, things of that nature, a lot of times right now people are going without inspections, but the older homes, once you open up a wall, once you have to start a project, a lot could come of it that you don't know and aren't aware of. But thinking about certain optional tests that we do for inspections, radon is one of them. Radon is more prevalent and shown to be more prevalent in the East Amherst, Clarence, East Aurora, Lancaster area. We don't see it as much, or definitely not as high, in the Tonawanda, Kenmore, City of Buffalo areas. Radon, there's a lot of mixed reviews out there about radon. Some people are like, radon, test it, mitigation system, everything. Other people think it's just a money grab. It's a way for you to spend money on something that doesn't even make sense and doesn't work. For those of you who don't know, radon is a gas in the ground. When we build homes, we put in basements, it disturbs that ground, and there are holes between, like your sump pump crock, between the ground and the air we breathe in the basement. And from there, the gas can penetrate the basement or even into your house. And excessive exposure to that gas has shown to cause cancer. So we do testing for radon. It's a box that sits in the basement for 48 hours. It tests the radon every hour and takes the average over that time. If it is over 4.0 or higher, it is recommended to get a radon mitigation system. Under that, not so much recommended, but you are at a between 2 to 4 at a riskier point. A radon mitigation system as of right now sits between $1,200 and $1,500. They have a PVC pipe that they go into the basement and goes and runs out right above the sill plate of the basement and releases above the roof line of the house. So there's a fan that sucks the gas from in the basement and releases it where no one should be breathing it. Again, some people think it's a money grab. Other people are diehard and won't even buy a house if it has actual signs of radon at all. That is a personal, option as well to get. It is not part of the regular testing when you have an inspection. Obviously, when you get an inspection as well, you want to look for structural and mechanical and health and safety issues. So structural is the foundation, mechanicals is your HVAC, your electrical, your plumbing, and health and safety are, radon, railings where appropriate, making sure that if you have balconies that the railings aren't loose, things of that nature. So your inspector should be pointing all of this out to you, and I do recommend that you go to your inspection at least for the last half maybe, so that your inspector can summarize as they go through certain aspects of the home. So usually they'll do the entire outside and then they'll come and explain that what they found or didn't find to you. Hey, this looks good, this looks good. This is something you want to keep an eye on, whatever that looks like. You want to make sure that you also look at the disclosures because they should explain some things to you. The seller is required to fill out disclosures in New York State. How old is the roof? Are there any issues with X, Y, and Z? Are you in a floodplain? Things to look out for too is outside, is the grading on the house, is it coming towards the house or away from the house? We want watershed away. Those are easy things we can see with our eyes that we don't need an inspector for. I was just in a home in Tonawanda and looking, the neighbor behind is much higher and the grade is coming towards the home. The basement was completely dry and it has a sump pump. And most townships in our area do a time of sale inspection, which is mandatory in order to sell the home. The town comes in, the sellers have the town come in and they check the sump pump And if there is public sewer connected, they check that as well to make sure water is flowing appropriately out of the home. If there's something wrong with the sump pump, they make them fix it before closing. It is their way of regulating water in our area. You know, there's a lot that you want your inspector to look at, but I think as a buyer active in the market and as an agent, I go into homes looking beyond the furniture, beyond the paint color, like looking at the grading, looking at electrical panel as a basic, like is it much older? Has it been upgraded recently? Does it even have a sump pump? You know, I went to sell a friend's home in Amherst this year, and he bought his house years ago with another agent, and there was no sump pump in the home. And he's never had water issues, which is great. But now he had to put one in because the town required him to have it. So he had to spend $11,000 on a sump pump and everything to put into the house. So even though you may not have any issues, there are requirements associated with that. In our area, if it was built before 1978, there is a very high chance that lead-based paint was used in the home. Now, we might have a home that was completely gutted head to toe, and there is no chance of any lead-based paint in the home, but there are disclosures that the seller has to give you in advance. You can do a lead-based paint test to see if there is lead-based paint in the home and test for that. Other things like asbestos in older homes could be very prevalent. You could buy an old Buffalo or, Lancaster home and open it up, and now you could be exposed to asbestos. You can get asbestos testing from your contractor as well when you start to do any work. But the older the home is, the more risk you are to exposing yourself to, one, major work of things you didn't know was happening underneath the surface, or two, products and materials that are not used nowadays because of health and safety issues. So again, for you in particular, Marcus, I'm going to really direct you to your agent and ask that you talk to them about what you should and shouldn't do. I cannot input on you as a particular person. However, for everyone else out there, these are general things that I recommend. And again, if you do have an agent of your own already, consult with them on your particular situation and what you feel is most important and what your agent might be educated on in particular to that home that you're looking at. So I really appreciate your question. If you have a question of your own, please contact us at call.show/askmichelle. I'm Michelle Petrie, your Buffalo Realtor.